Well, I've put this project off long enough, so let's go ahead and rip apart those door panels. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel with your host, Vet on Vets. So, this is something I've had for a couple months, and I'm very comfortable doing anything on a car for the most part. And I can do pretty much anything outside of an engine swap right here. However, reupholstering my door panels makes me nervous. But I'm going to start tackling it today. We'll do a quick little open box. These were about $325. The catch is you got to do most of the work yourself. Black leather, red stitching to match the rest of the car. Now, I do have the red or mod red interior. So the bottom red part of my door panel, I will keep it like that. I believe it comes with that piece too, but I will not be using that. I'm going to go ahead and open this up, show you what you get, and then I'm going to do the passenger first without filming it to make sure I don't dicker it up. And then, assuming it goes well, I will take you through the process on the driver's side. And obviously, if you're watching this, it was a success. So let me stop jibber jabbering. I'm going to open this up and we'll see what we get in the box. We got some literature. Of course, I'll have links in the description below. Right away, I can tell this is for the door handles. This looks like it's for the bottom piece around the speaker, if I'm not mistaken. They wrote on the back of it. I'm gonna give you a close-up look at the both front and back of the leather. It feels fine, like a decent leather. Let's keep on cruising here. I should have two sets of everything. Yes, this is the upper part. Looks like this will probably be on the driver's side. Yeah, this looks like the driver's side upper piece, which I will be using. There's no real good tutorials online like how to do this. I found one forum post from years ago that does a very similar product to this on a C5 Corvette. I'm kind of using that as a reference. I'll link that below as well. And the other stuff here is just the other parts of the other side door. As far as adhering this to the door, I'm just using a glue that people are recommending. This stuff right here, kind of like an all-purpose cement, flexible, quick adhesion, strong bond. It comes with a little brush, but I bought another little one to do as well to help in any case. If I need any other little tools while doing this with the one side, of course I'll include it in the description and show you how I do it when I'm actually doing the other side and showing it to you. So I'm going to go ahead and start taking apart my passenger side, and hopefully by the time I come back to this video here in a second, it'll be done and I'm going to walk you through the driver's side. So here we go. Godspeed. Alright, and just like that, I got the passenger side pretty much wrapped up. I messed up a little bit, a lot of lessons learned doing this side. That's why I'm going to film the other side for you, but not this side. I got some glue right here I gotta get off somehow. Other than that, not too bad. The fitment over here is a little off. I mean, the rest of the car is bang on as far as the door. So I'm not sure if that was me or the way it was manufactured, not sure. Total man hours, just this one side, probably about 4. Very tedious, but I'm pretty happy with the end result. I do gotta get some glue back down in here a little bit after I heated it to wrap it really well. This little corner started coming up, so I'll rectify that. Other than that, it went pretty seamless. I didn't mess up right there. There's a little tiny tear when I was cutting this. Well, a little bit too far, so I'll fill that in with something. Not the easiest thing I ever did. All right, so I'm gonna go over to the list of tools you're gonna need to do this now, and then we'll start taking apart the driver's side, and I'll walk you through everything step by step. All right, so real quick, now that I've got one side wrapped up, I can go over every tool you're going to need to do this project in no particular order, and as I go, you'll see how I use it. Rags or a lot of paper towels, a drill, preferably a power drill. So Gorilla Glue, I use this gel. This worked really well for the trim around the edges, keeping it in place. Some paint thinner, flathead screwdriver, 2 torque bits for the door removal. I think it's T20, T25 and a T30. Some Wellwood contact cement. This stuff worked great, and it has a little brush built in. But if you get some cement without a brush, you can just buy a brush. The sandpaper, I use 120, it works just fine. Some degreaser, some C-clamps, a mask, a soldering iron, preferably a really cheap one, because you might ruin it, but you're gonna need it, trust me. A heat gun, a little pry tool, wire brush, Phillips screwdriver, and lastly, needle nose pliers. And that should be everything you're gonna need outside of the actual leather kit itself. Oh, and also a razor blade, very important. I would have at least 10 brand new ones on hand. So yeah, those are all the tools you're gonna need to do this project. So let's go over to the driver's side door, start taking it apart. All right, how to get this door panel off. Probably one of the easiest door panels I've ever removed. Total of, what is it? 2 screws right here. Just need the big one for now. A little pop tool, and you can get it off. So first thing we're gonna do is remove both of these trim pieces. And we're taking this off, so I'm not too worried if I booger it up or anything. This one just pops off, nothing too exciting. This one right here, be careful with though. One of these sides has a little like tongue and groove deal, and I always forget which one's which. So just take your time and use my video as a reference so you don't mess up your car. Okay, yeah. So it's up here, there's a little tab. So the top goes in first, and then the bottom. So remove from the top first. Undo this little guy right there, easy day. There's a little piece back here, trim piece, covering up 2 torque bits we're gonna get to in a second. Mine, I glued it on there a while ago. A little dab of super glue, so it's kind of on there. But again, I knew I was changing the door panels, so didn't really care. Damn, it's really on there. Super glue works pretty good in these little vinyl panels. Cool, this little guy right there. And if you ever break one of these, you can get a whole set of these on Amazon for a couple bucks. Now we gotta undo the 2 screws inside of here. This is a T30. So I just realized that this one's gonna be a little different than the passenger side because it's got a larger door button panel, AC vent, both exit and enter. It shouldn't make it too much more dynamic, but a little different. But I'm glad I did that side first to give myself a little more confidence. This side was starting to come up. All this back here has came off, so it's all kind of like not secure. It's starting to bubble up, so I figured why not go ahead and change it out. All right, so for the rest of this, it's pretty simple. We're just gonna pull on it. Use this as some leverage down here. There's gonna be a total of 6 little white clips. Probably 4 down here, and then 1 up here, and then 1 like over here. And if you do break in the clips, they're really cheap to replace. You can get new ones online. And just that, we're all good. So this is loose. Now there's 1, 2, 3 clips up there. We're just gonna push it up, and it'll come on out. Ooh, there we go. We got a C5 door panel removed. And I don't think there's anything else we need to do with this door. I think all the work's gonna be exclusively on the door panel. So let's go ahead and take it over to the bench and we'll start taking it apart even further. All right, first thing I'm gonna do here is take off this styrofoam in here because we are gonna separate the bottom red part to the top part of the panel. They are 2 separate pieces. If you don't have the mod red interior, yours will just be all black or all tan, whatever, but you do need to separate the 2. So first things first, let's go ahead and get this piece of styrofoam off with 3 Phillips screws. You will break the styrofoam, but when you put it back together, throw some adhesive on it and it's not a big deal. Then there is some double-sided tape behind the styrofoam. You'll feel the resistance. I hope they can get it without breaking it. The other side did it. Oh, I think I might be able to get it. Cool. Alright, so you don't have to break it, but if it breaks, not a big deal. Mine on the other side broke right there, and I put it back in, put a little glue on there, it was good to go. Put this aside, out of the way, so I don't step on it. Alright, cool. Next thing we gotta do is take off this little handle so we can take off the little actual handle so we can wrap that. What else? What can stay here? These little pop white things, those can stay, that's fine. The next thing I'm gonna do is remove this little speaker right there. This comes out easy enough. This little, I don't know if you can see it. Little tabs right there. Just bend them out. One did break on the passenger side, unfortunately, but put it all back, put some super glue, call it a day. Come on out. And I don't think it's dependent on, yeah, it's not. All right, easy enough. So the next thing we're gonna do, and this is where your hot gun comes into play, and this is also why you have a mask to do this, because it's gonna smell, is this whole bottom panel right here is secured with these little, they're like plastic welds, like plastic, almost like plastic rivets that are melted. And one at a time, we're gonna go through. There's 3 right there, clustered up over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And one by one, with the soldering iron, makes it very easy. You're just gonna melt them and then pull it up. Melt it, pull it up, all the way down. And the cool part is, when we're done putting it back together, you can put it back on and remelt them, and it goes back together pretty well. Enough to where you can't notice it from the outside. All right, let me get this hot gun here, good and going. All right, here we go. I got the 2 on the end here. You can't really see them, just to get it going. And then got my gun here, nice and hot, full of goop. So I want the mask, of course. I'm gonna go one at a time with the screwdriver underneath it, and just pop it up, let it dry, so it's not together, and move on down the line. It's kind of tedious, but not terribly hard. Just weird and annoying. All right, those 2 pieces are just connected. Now, one thing I did not have on the passenger side, which you got to deal with on the driver's side, I just noticed, is this little duct thing. So I'm gonna go ahead, try to remove it. I say try, I'm assuming I can. Just some little 7mm deals, nothing crazy. It's like 3 of them. Any trickery here or anything? Feels like it just kind of pops in there. Yeah, it does. Okay. Easy day. Cool. So this side will be easy right here, because I just kind of trim it and it's going to go through it. This side is going to be a little more tricky, of course. So it's like we just got to be careful, fold it around and glue it. It shouldn't be too bad though, so I'm not too worried about it. All right, next thing we got to do, which isn't too exciting, and I might not even film it because it's just not worth my time to film. This part up here, this felt piece and in the windowsill, we got to take off all these little tiny, if you can see them, screws, or I'm sorry, staples behind it. And something like 10 of them, 12 of them, and this thing's gonna come right off. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. I just use a small flathead, and then just once they're flattened out, just pull it out, and that's it. All right, be right back. All right, so with the use of various little tools, little flathead, little pick, little mason bit even. Got this guy off pretty effortlessly, and we will be putting this back on later on with probably 5 little plastic self-tapping screws, and then we'll snip the heads of them off at the very end. Yeah, so this is another thing out of the way. Go ahead and put this out of the way, you don't need it. All right, the next step, we're taking off this vinyl here. The passenger side was relatively easy. That being said, now that I'm filming, it'll probably be a total boner. What I did on that side though, I took a razor and just cut and scored all the way through it, kind of like you would with wallpaper. and just started on an edge, and it slowly came off. Now, some people do recommend using heat. My concern is that it will reactivate the glue and make it harder to come off. So we'll see how this side does. I'm gonna go ahead and start scoring it and taking it off. And the first one you do, you're kind of scared to do it, you know, like, no, turn it back now. Well, you get the idea, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this and get the rest of it off. I'll be back in a second. All right, all the vinyl's off. This side was much easier than the passenger side, luckily. There are some spots where some adhesive and foam is left over. It's kind of hard to get off. I found the best way to do it was with some mineral spirits, dab it in some paper towels or cloth, put it on the adhesive anywhere left over, let it sit for a minute, and it pretty much comes right off with a wire brush. All right, all the little debris is off there now. One thing I didn't show is I took a 180 grit sandpaper and got every little piece of debris and dirt I could off of it, a little bit of adhesive. Last thing I did, I sprayed it with some purple powder, some degreaser, letting it sit for about 5 minutes, then I'll dry it off really well. It might be a little tacky with old glue, but that's okay. The old glue can work in your favor. So, I'm gonna wait a few minutes, dry this off, and then we will be ready to go with leather application. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do, well, I would do, is test fit this. You know it's marked which one's which. Make sure it's a good fit. Everything makes sense, you know what I mean? This one's going to be a lot more dynamic than the other side, but I think we can do it. Just got to take our time. That looks like everything does match up. Cool. Let's take more business. So what I'm going to do, what I do with the other side, is start with gluing this point here. It's a good reference point. And start on all the inside concave stuff, nice and tight, and then work my way out all the way around. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to apply some glue and start just massaging it in. And we're going to be massaging, stretching, massaging, stretching, massaging, stretching, eventually wrapping it over. I use the super glue gel on the inside. It grabs really quick and holds it in place. And then once I got it where I want it, I'll take some time. I'll film a little bit of it for you, is use a heat gun, and it'll get all the wrinkles out of the leather and tighten it up really good. So I'm going to go ahead and throw some glue on this, and we'll get going. And you're going to need about 1.5 of these per door. Alright, so I'm moving right along. You will get some wrinkles doing this on the sides, but we'll fix that at the end with the heat gun. It'll kind of iron them out, if you will. So again, I got all this middle part done. This part right here, up and around right here. And again, this is just, and then we're gonna add more glue. Adding glue, stretching it, pulling it down. I feel like this one's been a little harder so far. The passenger side had plenty of excess to fold underneath. This one's going right to the edge, so it works. It's just more of a pain in the butt, a lot of stretching. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply some more glue and keep this train rolling. Alright, like on the passenger side, this kind of area right here where it meets the kind of the bottom of the A-pillar, kind of annoying. It kept crinkling up. So I guess I gotta kind of get creative over here too. Just keep stretching it and pulling it. And it's all lined up really well. Yeah, you're gonna have to keep kind of massaging it, ungluing it, gluing it, unmassaging it, or remassaging it. Kind of a pain, but you'll get it. And then at the end with the heat gun, we can relax a lot of the wrinkles, not all of them, but we can get it much better looking. So don't stress too much if it's really wrinkly. So yeah, what I'm gonna start doing is just stretching this down this way. Hopefully I can get it wrinkle-free as possible. It's like a nutsack right now. I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so essentially the overall gluing down, the first step is done. Now I gotta trim the edges, tuck underneath, super glue it. This is the hardest part to do. You gotta cut out where the two bolts are gonna go, that little hole, and then where it's going to bolt into the handle. And then this is the hardest part to heat and stretch and get it on the grooves. We'll do that part last. So what I'm going to do now is go around all the sides and just trim it, and then leave about a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch, and then tuck it underneath and glue it all the way around. And then I'm going to heat shrink it all the way around to give it a nice form, and then we'll work on this part last. All right here where the window buttons are going to go, I'm going around the outside here and putting some super glue all the way around, because when I trim this, it's going to be super tight against the edge, and I want this to have a really good bond, because it's the buttons are going to sit kind of right on top of it. And then what I'm going to do is cut this from the other side, just along the perimeter, and this one though, where the AC duct goes into the car, you're gonna make a slit in the middle, and then we're gonna kind of spider it to the edges and wrap it around. I'll show you that part when I get to it. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, get this done, cut this and this out, and then we'll do this part. I got all the edges glued where I want them. I just gotta trim them real quick, and then we're ready to start shrinking it, and then we'll work on the handle part. All right, for this guy down here, the AC vent, from the back side, let's cut it right down the middle, and then made a few relief cuts. And now I'm just gonna use some super glue, and one at a time, fold it back over, stretching it, and it should look pretty good. All right, by now yours should look something like this. We're gonna rectify this next. There are some wrinkles you'll see around some stuff, and we'll rectify that towards the very end with the heat gun around here as well. It'll take care of about 85% of those wrinkles. This around here too. So it's pretty much edged up how I want it. This is the last thing we gotta work on before we start shrinking it. So let's go ahead and knock this out. So what I'm gonna do is just cut a hole right there, and then where the handle goes into right there and right there, a little square right on top of it, and then I'm gonna heat this up with some glue behind it and massage it in. So it takes a while, so I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out real quick. All right, getting pretty close to the final product here. I went over the whole thing with the heat gun. A lot of the trouble areas that were really scrunched up look a lot better. It does dry it out a little bit, so I do need to condition it when I put it in the car, but not a big deal. Looks much better. All the white you see there, that's just super glue on my fingers. I got super glue on there, but I will take care of that. So I need to work on a couple more little things. I need to, this in here came up a little bit. I'm gonna massage that, work on that a little bit. And then inside of here, I still need to work on this a little bit. And then we're going to wrap the little handle, and then we're almost ready for reassembly. Okay, the handles are pretty straightforward. Obviously, you're gonna have your left and then your right door panel handle. You're gonna find these little thumbprints right there. Okay, that means it's up, right? And you're gonna take that thumbprint, and you're gonna find this crease on here, and you're gonna kind of match that up, the thumbprint side, and have this just to the right of it, and center it in the middle of the fabric, just like so. Boom, good fitment. Now what's gonna happen is I'm gonna cover this entire thing in glue, and I'm gonna put it right back where it was. I'm gonna wrap it like a burrito, and I'm gonna put 2 C-clamps on it, let it sit for about an hour, then I'll heat it up, shrink it really good, and then we'll tuck in the ends, and it's ready to be bolted on to the door panel. And boom, just like that. It's gonna sit for about an hour, and then we'll take some Gorilla Glue, and we'll tuck in the sides all the way around. And this stuff's great. It holds the stuff on contact, and it's so strong with leather. And yeah, we'll tuck it all the way in, both sides, and then we'll put this on the door panel. But for now, we can start reassembling the actual door panel with the bottom part. All right, got this guy back in there. This guy back in there. Super simple. It just goes right back how it was. He saw me take it out. Now, the fun part. We get to put this bottom part on. Total boner, but that's what we're gonna do right now. All right, I already got this going. This area right here is good to go. This little glob right there. It looks ugly, but it works. You just kind of match it back up to where it was, melt the crap around it to the bottom, and it adheres right to it. Pretty nuts. Make sure you wear a mask and are in a well insulated area. I have my garage door open behind me. It just smells like, you know, melted plastic, which is not pleasant at all. It's kind of like soldering, just with plastic. It's kind of weird. It's kind of fun. Messy, but it works. And once you get all melted down to where it's adhered to the plastic below it, it dries relatively quick. In about 5 seconds, it hardens. And it's a pretty good bond, believe it or not. All right, not too pretty from the back here, especially these rivets, but it does the job. It's holding very well. I didn't film this and I forgot. I apologize. This little guy up here, I just used 5 tiny little screws, self-tapping plastic screws. It's secure. That's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, the handle is all set, ready to go in. What did I do here? So, like I said, I had it some C-clamps around it for about an hour. I put a little bead of super glue gel, just to give me a little more warm and fuzzy. You'll never see this part, so no big deal. On the top, super easy. You just go around and tuck it in with some super glue. It adheres right away to the leather and the plastic, so no big deal. So I'm gonna go ahead, put the bracket back here, and then this will go back in the front, and we'll, you know, mount it with the screws, how it came out. And then I'll heat this a little bit to shrink it just a little bit. And then put the foam back in the door, and then this thing's going back in. All right, got the little foam back in, those 3 screws, don't forget. Actually, last thing I gotta do is this little speaker grill. I'm just gonna go in underneath and secure it. I got the handle on, I'll show you that in a second. Yeah, this on, shrink the handle, And this thing is going back in. All right, so here's how we're looking. Pretty close to the final product. Once I have this installed, give it a couple days. I'm gonna have to condition some of this, steam this and condition it, get some more of those wrinkles out as expected, especially this kind of leather. Not too bad, it's okay. The fitment on this one's worse than the passenger side. This met just fine. This was kind of goofy. The seam, I don't know what you call this, the seam here doesn't really meet right here. And again, everything's lined up, reference off this. I'm not a professional, but I mean, I did as best as I could. I got this tightened down pretty good. I'm happy with that. Overall, for someone that's never done leather work before on a car, I'm not complaining. Overall happy with it. Again, I'll have it installed and I'll work on the little boogers over the next few days. Little imperfections here and there, and I think I can get it worked out pretty damn good. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in the car, get it cleaned up, I'll condition it, and give you a final shot here in a moment. All right, here we have the final product on the driver's side door. Not too bad at all. The overall leather quality is not too bad. My biggest gripes are the seams. Not really. This is fine. And this is, oh, I can live with this. This is kind of goofy. But on the other side, if you can see, the front one matches pretty good, but the back one's all messed up. But I mean, for $300, you get what you get. I am an amateur at this, and it turned out okay. I will, over the next few days, have to soften up and massage or condition it. Some of this right here, smooth it out a little bit, but I think I can get it pretty good. In the next video, I'll do a follow-up with me fixing all the little boogers, but for $300, if you're a go-getter, you can do this job. Annoying, but doable. The cool thing is that it matches the seats really well, if you can see. So that's pretty cool. Continuity, which is nice. But yeah, if you had no idea this car didn't come with these and just jumped in it, you'd probably assume that it came like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. And my next one, I'll go over how I like it, follow up, and fixing up all the little boogers. Hope this video is not too long. Another reason why I'm wrapping up right now, it's gonna be like 35 minutes long. But cool guys, hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll catch you guys next time. Mark out.